I was reading last night, Brian. I know you're a history guy, too.
Oh, no.
I'm reading last night about the fall of France in the summer of 1940.
Oh,
and
no.
the general, Renault, calls up Churchill and says, it's over. And Churchill said, how can it be? You got the greatest army in Europe. How can it be over? He said, it's over. So I had that suppressed feeling. I can't be as wild as Carville, but he is damn smart. And I think he's damn right on this one. Joy.
What? I can't. You can't invoke Godwin's law that flippantly. Game over, dude. Bernie's pulling it. Bernie's pulling ahead. Game over. What the fuck? You know, I said to my friend, Matthews, you're a big fan of history. And you said, Bernie recently pulled ahead. And what it reminded me of was this documentary I watched on the Holocaust, where the Jews were being stacked 6-person to an oven to burn faster. And that's what I thought of when I saw Bernie, pulling ahead. Just I can't make as extreme a comparison as some people, But as a history guy, I'm sure you understand sort of the, Bernie's left, how left he is. I don't really know. No one knows how left he is. Chris Matthews is fucking crazy. Did we ever talk about his meltdown on stream? I don't think we did. Can I just... Bernie Sanders? Is that going to get us the... Can I just get the clip? Yeah, here we go. No, wait. That's the clip I'm looking at. God damn it. Bernie Sanders... Central Park. Yeah, the Central Park clip. That's it. That's the Central Park clip. Yeah, Gawa, give me that clip in the... Give me that clip in chat. Here we go. Is this it? From Newsweek.
To congratulate Senator Sanders for the extraordinary campaign.
Bend the knee. That's not the fucking Chris Matthews clip. What do you want? Here we go.
I have my own views of the word socialist. And
here we go. This guy's a fucking loony, dude. Holy shit.
I'm glad to share them with you in private. And they go back to the early 1950s. I have an attitude about them. I remember the Cold War. I have an attitude towards Castro. I believe if Castro and the Reds had won the Cold War, there would have been executions in Central Park.
Okay, yeah, whoa, okay. Listen, there's one thing I want to say before I go off on this guy, okay? And I want to make this very clear. I want to make this very, very, very clear, okay? I have some sympathy for the delusional boomers who grew up with the Red Scare, who grew up through the threat of nuclear annihilation, who grew up through the belief that because every day they were being told by the government, they were being told by private media, they were being told that in Soviet Russia, there is a mandatory baby raping quota every week, that there is exactly one piece of bread that is given out per neighborhood that you have to, share amongst your comrades, that the only way to get clean water after the government forcefully, seizes it from you so the glorious leader can have a bigger swimming pool, is to suck nourishment from the butt sweat on park benches. I understand a little bit of the paranoia crossing over, but this dude has fucking lost it, man.
And I might have been one of the ones getting executed. And certain other people would be there cheering, okay? So I have a problem with people who took the other side.
Look at everyone else here. Look at everyone else sitting at this table. I really want that body language expert vibe, that expertise coming out here.
Be there cheering, okay? So I have a problem with people.
Everyone else, this guy's awkwardly smiling. She does not look happy in the slightest. And these two look like they're waiting for the toast to pop up. If the toast was also a car accident.
The other side. I don't know who Bernie supports over these years. I don't know what he means by social. 1 week it's Denmark. We're going to be like Denmark. Okay, that's harmless.
Anti-Semitic, by the way.
That's basically a capitalist country with a lot of good social welfare programs. Denmark is harmless.
It's pretty clearly in the Denmark category.
Yeah. When even your fucking co-hosts are like, yeah, Bernie Sanders is pretty clearly in the Denmark camp. when it comes to, you know, quote unquote socialism. I mean, you can take a look at Bernie's policies. It's not like Bernie ever dog whistles for anything that he doesn't specifically denote in his policies. I would understand if he did that a little more, you know, but he really keeps it close to the vest when it comes to his you know, unironic leftist advocacy. He hasn't gone off in this like, and the billionaire class, we will make them pay for what they've done. Like, he doesn't do that shit, you know. He says like, we will make them pay, literally, you know, for healthcare or what have you, because he has a wealth tax. But this dude, like Bernie Sanders, you know, off like somewhere in a corner. Hey guys, what if we had not the most expensive and least effective healthcare on the planet? This guy, they would have taken me. They could have taken my friends up in Central Park. They could have killed us. I don't know how left he is. I mean, take it away, Chris.
Are you sure? How do you know? Did he tell you that?
Well, I mean, that's what he says, and that's what his agenda calls for, right?
Yeah.
He's not calling for any.
Let's see. Let's figure that one out.
Well, we haven't seen a campaign yet where video of him praising the other version,
Right,
which is Castro, has been used.
Well, but
it will be used.
That's a question
we
of
haven't seen how that plays out.
Of how what the effect that has.
Well, what does he think of Castro? That's a great question. What did you think of Fidel Ismo? We all thought he...
That's what this guy would do if he was a debate moderator, you know? He'd be like frothing at the mouth. He'd put both of his hands up on the table in the middle, like some other moderator, you know, would be asking like, Senator Sanders, how do you feel you would best handle the growing climate crisis, particularly with regards to negotiating deals with other countries? And Sanders would like raise his hand, and this guy, and what did you think of Castro? What about Mao? Do you have anything to say about Mao? Fidel, Mao, Stalin? Do you know about a guy called Stalin? How do you think about Stalin? Like, this guy fucking losing it, dude.
He was great when he first, I was cheering like mad for him when he first went in. And then he became a communist and started shooting every one of his enemies.
Okay, hold those thoughts on the Cuban Revolution. I have to go back to the spin room and Democratic presidential candidate.
This guy's like, get me off the air. Get me off the air with this fucking guy. His fucking toothy grin at the camera. Oh, God. Well, someone else gave me a link. I have another fucking link of Chris Matthews.
Did it?
He's at 37 and the others at 23. Does he get the nomination because of that?
I think Harry Reid on your show yesterday made it very clear, and I think he was right that there could be a very plausible case for the moderates to coalesce around one candidate and take it to the convention. But again, Chris, we've got to keep in mind, these guys have got to get 15%. And right now, California, for example, you've got Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden are the only two that are clearing 15%.
That is one of the big advantages of the moderates being split amongst so many, the centrist, you know, the conservative Democrats. Because you've got Klobuchar, Bloomberg, Buttigieg, and Biden. And a lot of people, a lot of voters are simpletons. They don't know who they're going to be voting for. So the votes tend to wiggle around between these four candidates. And in some places, you know, in some instances, if you don't pull up to a certain point, like if you don't reach a certain threshold of voters, you don't get you don't get in. Like, you have to split. You have to go find other candidates to throw your weight behind. And invariably, Bernie Sanders is going to pick up some of that, you know, attention.
If that is the case, and that means that Bernie Sanders could come out of Super Tuesday with a disproportionate number of delegates than what he should be getting based on the vote percentage he's getting right now.
Is there somebody not running that should be running? I mean...
Hillary, come back. Save us from Bernie. We need to pull her out of retirement. That's what the 2020 Democratic primary process needed. We needed another candidate. We needed another centrist Democrat. That's what we need. Yeah, we need to bring back Delaney.
I get the feeling that this race lacks somebody, and I don't know whether it's Sherrod Brown or who's not running. That's Andrew Cuomo. I don't.
Desperately, just any name off the top of his head. Nobody knows who these people are. Yeah, bring him in. Bring him in right before Super Tuesday with no fucking campaign backing. You thought Bloomberg entered the race late? Well, we'll show you how this is done.
I don't know.
I mean, you got to remember,
seems
though,
to
these
be
voters
empty.
wanted less candidates running, not more candidates running. And these are the
I'm
candidates.
talking about contenders.
But voters.
I'm sorry, back to you. You know what I'm talking about?
My son, my eldest son, he's got a friend, John DeLaggio. Maybe we could bring him in. You know, Bethany Corvus. She's one of my 6 maids. Maybe she could run. You know,
But I mean, I know so many people that just don't have a candidate.
Well, look, I think that there is still a sense that people are just feel confused, that they just want to get some answers out of who is best positioned. Because, again, this question of electability is still driving at the heart of all of this, of, like, who is actually going to be able to beat Trump? And because there's just so many answers to that question, that's part of why there's sort of this searching feeling of, like, okay, who else might even be out there? But I don't think that at this point that we can expect that these...
Who? And we had such a clustered Democratic primary process. Do we really need more? Is that really what we're looking? Is that the spice we need right now? That's fucking crazy. Who would suggest this? Who? What politician is well known that would garner any amount of attention? Do we mean another like billionaire who can buy their way into prominence? Who are we talking about?
These voters are going to search for another person coming out of left field.
I'm wondering whether the Democratic moderates want Bernie Sanders to be president. I mean, that's maybe
Chris? I'm wondering that too. I'm also wondering that.
too exciting a question to raise. They don't like Trump at all. Do they want Bernie Sanders to take over the Democratic Party in perpetuity?
Well,
I mean, he takes it over. He sets the direction for the future of the party. Maybe they'd rather wait 4 years and put in a Democrat that they like.
Listen to this stodgy billion. Look at all of his co-hosts. They're like, they know what he's doing. He's saying the quiet part out loud. This guy, Chris Matthews, is a multimillionaire. Of course he is. You know, his class interest is against us. And what he's saying, what he's literally saying right now, hey, the voters, the constituency that we're supposed to be representing, that the Democratic Party is supposed to be representing, are trying to pull the party in a direction that would lead to me making less money. Are we really going to let that happen? Is that really something we should allow to happen for the voters to be able to decide the direction of this party? Everyone else, they're like, well, I mean, we also don't want that to happen, but we can't say that on air. We're supposed to pretend that we represent the will of the people. But this guy's just saying it because he's old and because he's rich, and being rich insulates you from the consequences of your actions. You know, if you were just some newbie fuck, you know, first week in the job guy who came up there and sat that, you'd be axed the next day. But because this guy gets to melt down live on air, you know, because he's worth fucking $20 million.
I mean, that's the big question, right? And, you know, what
See,
the narrative
they
you're starting
agree.
to see play out, Chris.
The co-hosts don't disagree. They just don't like how forward he is with his willingness to openly subvert the democratic process. Just like, by the way, every single Democratic candidate running, including Warren, except for Bernie Sanders. It was the last question posed in the debates 2 nights ago in Las Vegas. You know, how do you feel about the possibility of a second ballot in the DNC where superdelegates throw their weight behind the different candidates? Do you believe they should throw their weight behind the candidate with the most votes, or do you think they should just divide and do whatever they want? And what that essentially means is, after the human beings, the people of the country, are done choosing who they want to be the president of the United States of America, should a bunch of unelected plutocrats and bureaucrats, a bunch of fucking dark horse anti-democratic monkey wrenchers be thrown in to just choose their own candidate independent of the will of the people? Or should the democratic process be, you know, upheld and kept to some degree of sacrosanctity? And Bernie said he believes in democracy. And every other candidate who knows they won't be able to beat Bernie without superdelegates coming to their side said they would let the superdelegates do whatever they want, or they would like the superdelegates to do whatever they want. a lot of anti-democratic fervor going on right now in the DNC process, I have to say.
Is that there are people that are concerned, strategists that are concerned, that Bernie Sanders being the top of the ticket will force us to lose the House. I don't necessarily think that's the case. It's early.
The future?
It's early.
Yeah.
But that's why I think that there is a potentially plausible argument, to Gabe's point, depending on how many delegates the moderates can amass. Right. If you've got 4 moderates that have amassed significantly more delegates than Bernie Sanders, midway through this fight, then...
Well, here's the question. If the 4 delegates...
Are superdelegates not elected like normal delegates? No, they're appointed, I'm pretty sure. The superdelegate... I think the RNC also has superdelegates, but they have far fewer of them. The DNC is a far less democratic institution than the RNC is.
If the 4 moderates, we call them all moderates because they're not Bernie, but the fact is that we're talking about Amy, we're talking about Senator Buttigieg, we're talking about Biden, we might be talking about Bloomberg as well. Okay, those 4. If they can't agree now on which one of them is going to be the nominee, they're going to somehow agree at the second bout of the convention?
Well, I mean, the big fear that everyone obviously has, if we're really going to play this forward and look at multiple rounds of voting at the convention, is that the party's going to be torn apart. And you tell me that the party's not going to be torn apart if Bernie Sanders enters the convention with a plurality and then doesn't end up with the actual nomination?
Yep. If Bernie Sanders enters the first ballot with 45% of the vote and the next runner-up has like 34%, and after a bunch of superdelegate fuckery, Bernie Sanders does not end up being the Democratic primary presidential nominee, the Democratic Party is going to fucking explode. The Democratic Party is going to be wrenched apart. The most blatant disregard for the democratic process imaginable. It would literally just be the DNC elite saying, frankly, your votes literally just don't matter. We choose who you get to vote for. I see a lot of Buttigieg supporters down there. Really? I guess Klobuchar is pretty bad. I feel like Biden might actually be better than Klobuchar and Buttigieg. I feel like I might actually prefer Biden to the two of them. Elite, when Biden is just like a senile, old, like doddering, octogenarian or septuagenarian, you know. Biden almost seems cute compared to Klobuchar's, like, essentially being a Republican candidate, and Buttigieg being a weaselly little committee-driven fascist who almost certainly has some ties to the CIA. Biden, yeah, almost looks cute, you know. Even his like weird grabby sexual harassment stuff honestly seems kind of quirky and quaint compared to Bloomberg stuff, you know. For like Biden being sexually harassed by Biden, you know, is when you're a woman and you walk into work one day and Biden looks at you for 20 seconds while licking his lips and then comments on your like garter hose, you know, and says that you must keep a lot of good ones in your boudoir, sweetums, and then he like turns around and walks into a door frame. But Bloomberg probably has like for him, like the female employees, they run him like cockfights down in the basement of his of his fucking offices, you know. They fucking collar their female employees and have them like fight or like mud wrestle or something and have them all signed to NDAs, and if they break the NDAs, Bloomberg has their family shot. I feel like Biden, it's so much, you know, cuter what he does. Oh man. But anyway, we got a little off topic here. Joe Biden didn't fuck kids in Epstein's Island. That's true. You know, Joe Biden doesn't have ties to Epstein. That's true. What a compelling argument for Biden, you know? I'm a Biden. What's a cute name for a Biden supporter? Can someone give me a cute name for a Biden supporter? I'm riding for Biden. Is that good? Can we roll with that? Yeah, exactly. Biden just likes sniffing hair, you know? Biden just likes giving neck rubs. I don't think Biden would like put hits out, personally. I've heard multiple people call Buttigieg a fascist now. Is there any merit to it, or is it just hyperbole? fascism has a lot of definitions. A Bidenite? Yeah, maybe. Fascism has a lot of facets, I should say. There are elements of fascism that are better represented by Trump than by Bloomberg, and some that are better represented by Bloomberg than by Trump. It can be a complicated subject to distill. When I say, like, sort of fascist leaning with Buttigieg, I'm talking about his, I would say, fairly open racial antagonism he represents. The fact that, you know, he was so willing to take the crackdown on crime answer to why so many more fucking black kids are getting arrested when he's mayor. Probably the fact that he, man, that weird CIA shit. That CIA stuff is really weird. But the worst of it is the conscription stuff, where he wants to implement a heavily socially, he doesn't say mandatory, he just says, you know, heavily suggested conscription service after high school, where you get to go to the military or you get to do public service here. Now, I will say this, I do not disagree necessarily with the potential efficacy of some kind of public service program that you could do. But the idea that it should be considered like expected or obligatory is really fucking weird, you know? Why not just have, I mean, we have Greenpeace, you know? We have what is it called? When you go across borders to like help out other places, I literally like nearly did this once. What is it called? Peace Corps. The Peace Corps. Yeah. We have services like this. What if we just expand these programs and we just treat it like a job, you know? We just treat it like a job. 1 year or 2 year deployments, basically. No military whatsoever. You get paid a fair wage. And hey, you work construction, you work revitalizing infrastructure, you work doing cleanup. You just do good civil service, good infrastructural work that is fairly not low skill, but you know, it's something that most people could do. And maybe you can do it like when you're younger, but not this like creepy obligation, like serve your country. It's just work that helps everyone out. The Peace Corps does have ties to the IMF. I'm not saying the Peace Corps is like an unassailable organization. And like I said, there are elements of Buttigieg's advocacy for this idea that I don't disagree with, but it's the context in which it's being provided, its ties to the military, and Buttigieg's apparent attitude towards it. That makes it seem pretty fucking, you know, I'm doing my part, that, you know, I don't like very much. So basically gulags? No, not gulags. What are you talking about? I just mean like, I think that'd be a pretty good idea, you know? Like, hey, you know, you're 19 years old, you don't know if you want to go to college. Hey, 1 year, I'll work for the construction corps, you know? Just civil service job. You get paid $50,000 a year plus benefits. I think that's a fair wage. 40 hours a week, you know, you're out there, you're doing repair jobs. We finally start having public works programs reincorporated into the country, not just outsourcing or delegating everything to private contractors. Wouldn't that be nice, you know? Fixing up roads, you know, potholes, maybe cleaning up buildings, you know, a demolition of dilapidated sort of areas. Just, you know, overall, just clean the country up a little bit. This is just the New Deal. Well, the difference is the New Deal. The New Deal was deliberately designed not only to revitalize the country, which it did to a large extent, but also to crush socialist sentiments. By saving capitalism. I don't want to do that. I think everything I've just described can accompany socialist fervor, personally. I think, in fact, they go together quite well, you know, in my humble opinion.